Testing 1, 2, 3. This will be the Community Redevelopment Agency meeting for August 5th, 2015.
Good evening. I'd like to call to order a regular meeting of the Community Redevelopment Agency, August 5th, 2015, approximately 6 p.m. Please join me in a moment of silence in the pledge. The pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving on to agenda item 3, Executive Director's Report. Courtney.
Thank you, Chairman. The only thing I had to report was we have received the 60% design plans from DOT on the resurfacing project, and we have gone through them, sent them a comment letter, and we're meeting with them next week on those comments. So hopefully by the next meeting we'll have a more definitive answer on what will actually be included into the project and what won't. So.
Any further questions for the Executive Director? Hearing none, moving on to agenda item 4. Discuss, take action on the agreement between the City of Satellite Beach Community Redevelopment Agency and Shepard Smith and Cassidy, PA for legal counseling services.
This is the updated agreement for our CRA attorney. So we're recommending approval.
Thank you.
Move to have the Executive Director execute the agreement with Shepard Smith and Cassidy, PA for legal services.
I have a motion by Member Gott and second by Vice Chair Montanaro. Further discussion from boards? Hearing none, at this time open it up for public comment on agenda item 4.
Ron Jacudis, resident Satellite Beach. What is the hourly rate proposed for the CRA attorney?
If I'm not mistaken, there's 3 rates, 190, 155, and 70, depending on who we get, who's here.
Thank you. And should that issue go out to bid going forward as far as getting the maximum results for the benefit of the community?
Question to me, I'll answer. I think we, first off, as maximum benefit, I think they've done a great job for us and have provided great service to us and a very good benefit to us. As whether it needs to go out to bid, I'm going to have to ask Courtney to.
We did that. We did that last year. So we normally, for this type of service, you go out to bid like every 3 to 5 years, just like our city engineer. You know. And it wouldn't it'd be a request for proposal, not a bid.
Well, request for proposal, shouldn't we request that to come back to the council to ensure that we are getting the best benefit?
I'm going to say we do that, and it's, as our executive director said, it's something you do every few years, not every year.
All right. Well, does the city have a standard for that?
No.
No.
Shouldn't the city have a standard for that?
I believe we're happy with the way it is at this present time.
I mean, we could have a standard for that might protect, future instances of approving, large contracts without an RFP process.
Okay. You'd like to bring that to us? Thank you.
It's not a charge against the attorneys.
Okay.
It is. The question is, the city should have a standard of reopening it again for a bidding process. Thank you.
The floor is still open. Hearing none, close it. Back to the board. Any further discussion on?
Yeah, I'm curious as to who the shareholders are.
Shareholders would be Cliff Shepard, Drew Smith, and Virginia Cassidy.
Okay.
Any further questions? Hearing none, Lenore?
Mark Reimer?
Yes.
Steve Osmer?
Yes.
Dominic Montanaro?
Yes.
Lorraine Gott?
Yes.
Chairman Catino?
Yes, motion passes. Thank you. Thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item 5, discuss take action on Shell Street improvement change order 1 by city engineer. John?
Good evening, everyone. In an effort to keep the Shell Street project on task, on budget, and the addition of the utility undergrounding to that project, staff is recommending the deletion of the bid alternate for the open paver parking. That will provide a savings of $51,608.42. From that, we're going to take $25,000. That is a recommendation, move it into the contingency fund. That money will ultimately come back to the CRA if it's not utilized. Approximately $10,000 of that will be used for the contractor side of that utility work. The other portion of that, we'll call it, of that split, will be used for the undergrounding to pay for the utility providers such as FP&L, Wright House, and AT&T. One of the biggest reasons that we had made the recommendation to delete the pavers is they are, and actually it's been expressed in some of the prior discussions on using pavers, is they are a maintenance item. They don't provide any TMDL credits, so I mean, they do have a certain aesthetic to them, but so does undergrounding the power lines, and we felt that there was more benefit to the resiliency and the undergrounding of the power lines than there was to the pavers in those areas.
Okay, thank you. Questions from the board, John? On the pavers, I went and looked around the city, and if you look at pavers, they look nice when they're new and they're really kept up. But I also talked to our staff at Public Works, and as we always do projects, it always tasks Public Works more and more. They have more and more to do. And when the pavers get grown over and don't look as if they're brand new and so forth, they really don't look as good. And it's surely a lot of work. I met with Alan on this, and I think this is a good way to go for future expenses at the park.
I agree with you. I have them in my, part of my driveway. I have them around my house. You know, if you seal them, you're continually sealing them. If you don't seal them, you know, they get moldy and mildewed. So, you know, I mean, I think what we're doing is fine. They look nice when they're new. I agree with you.
Sounds like value for $1. I think the undergrounding and all that is much better value for $1.
Yes.
Any further discussion? Okay, this time, let me open it up for public hearing, public comment on this agenda item. Floor is open.
Ron Jacutis, resident, Satellite Beach, a CRA resident. When I look at the change order, I request that we see a visual of the change order. And I am quite upset that the council is not looking, or, excuse me, the CRA board is not looking at the change order as a visual conceptual. If you are looking at that, citizens do not have that.
We don't have it either. I mean, this is the change order.
We have the change order, and I believe it's online. It is.
We have a change order that is reflected as numbers in a spreadsheet, but we should look at that carefully. Now, my understanding is that that was changed on March 1st, and I'm going to be gavelled out here shortly, because my time's going to run out here unless the mayor extends it, but I think this is a very important issue. One of my issues is that it is in there, and we had a March 1st meeting on this between the construction company and the city. I think these facts should be brought forward to the citizens. And to do a blanket change is very wrong. Additionally, when you look at it, as a CRA resident or representing people there, or not representing people there, they should be able to see this and decide. And the CRA committee should be able to visualize what is going on. I don't think this is proper and correct. Everyone should see this. I don't care, me personally, I don't care if I see an X drawn through it. But you know what?
Please wrap up.
There we go.
Thank you. Please wrap up. I'll give you a few seconds.
You know, Mr. Mayor, what time is it? It's 6:12.
Yes, sir, and you had your 3 minutes or...
All right, I had my 3 minutes.
You did, and then at this point, I'm cutting you off.
You know,
There's not an
Mr.
argument
Mayor,
with me. Sir, it's not an argument with me. We'll answer your questions, but we are not getting into discussion concerning the time. The time is the same for everyone who comes to this podium.
that is correct, but
Thank
you
you.
have
And your time
the
on the podium is
authority
finished.
to do that.
Yes, sir.
You
You're off
know-
the podium, please. You get one more warning, please. Thank you very much. We'll answer your questions.
It is shameful.
It is. Thank you, sir.
Not by my part.
Sir, you're gone. Thank you. Okay, as I was looking at it for the record,
Any more comments?
no, ma'am, you're out of order too. Please be seated. Thank you. As I was seeing this, I know I have, personally, because I've come in and I met with John, and I met with Courtney on a couple occasions on this. And I personally think this is good. When anytime you start a project, things come up during the project. And our main thing to do is to make this best project we can possibly build. And I think the underground power and so forth definitely takes precedent. And we want to come in under budget on this thing, on this project. And what I think is really great about this is the effort that the staff has put into this project. We got the citizens involved, and we worked with them where things were going. We moved things for them, and I feel really comfortable. I think FPL, Bright House, AT&T, and these things underground is much better than the pavers. And the cost that the pavers are going to cost us a year from now, 2 years from now, to upkeep. So I feel comfortable that the information's out. If I'm not mistaken, I've been told it is online. That's my comment. Any further comment?
I think you've covered it, Mr. Mayor. I mean, this is essentially based from what John has said and what Dominic has said, is this is an aesthetic improvement. It's going to last longer than the other things, so visualization is not difficult on this at all. It's an aesthetic improvement, so.
You know, I just want to say, you know, that's why we're here. We are the CRA board. And as you alluded, Frank, there are things that come up, and it's our job when those things come up to make decisions. I don't think this needs to go back to anybody. If we kept going back to people, we'd never get these things done. This project is ongoing right now. I think the decision that we're making here tonight is in the best interest of the city, and I'm comfortable making it. That's why we're here.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
Is your public comment still open?
Yes, it is. I'm sorry, public comment is still open.
You're going to let me speak, that's wonderful.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
That is wonderful. Hopefully we're on YouTube tonight. I don't see a red light. Dale Abrams, resident of the CRA. You know, I've come to a lot of meetings, and I was at the meetings for the planning of this particular project, okay? What I learned is we had septics down there, okay? We're going to deal with them. That's awesome, all right? Then we wanted to put a shower in, we wanted to put a bathroom in. Okay, that's fine. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, comes the underground utilities, okay? I'm not going to argue with that one. We want to be a sustainable community. Let's put more asphalt. That's what sustainable communities are all about, is putting more asphalt down, you know, instead of pervious surfaces. Let's go for it. Here for asphalt.
Thank you very much.
And just so, we have exfiltration in that project too, that is taking care of what's coming off of that asphalt, just to clear the record also. And that's part of this project, and it's in this bid.
If I can make a comment too, we had some comments on our Facebook page regarding the Green Committee, and a lot of the community expressed the desire for the city to stop using Roundup, and that would be the way we would maintain these pavers, is using Roundup. So that was one of the considerations that staff took into account, was not having to do that, because we wouldn't have, you know, we wouldn't have the paver issue. So that is, actually being green was part of the reason of switching to an asphalt scenario, because the pavers that we were putting in here, pavers aren't as impervious as grasscrete or anything like that. So, you know, if the community wanted to go real green, we would just put grass parking in. But that's certainly not a desirable attribute for this area, since it's mostly a commercial area. So it was asphalt was the desired component.
Thank you. Floor is still open for public comment?
Mr. Mayor, can I make another comment?
No, ma'am, you can't at this time. I'm sorry. Any public comments still open? Hearing none, bring it back to the board. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion by Board Member Brimer.
Second.
I have a second by Board Member Osmer. Further discussion from council? From board, excuse me.
Yeah, I think that the motion needs to be clarified, since...
Motion to approve the Shell Street Improvements Change Order Number 1 was what I intended.
Steve?
Second.
Yeah, any further discussion from the board? Hearing none, Lenore?
Lorraine Goff,
Yes.
Dominic Montanaro,
Yes.
Steve Osmer,
Yes.
Mark Reimer.
Yes.
Chairman Catino.
Yes, motion passes. Thank you, John, appreciate it very much. Moving on to agenda item 6, member comments.
I have a comment.
Okay?
Why are member comments down here at the bottom? How about we move them up to, like, after the, like, above the executive director's report?
As we do in council.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I'll keep an eye on that from now on.
I have nothing.
Okay. Steve? Nope. Okay. Moving on to agenda item 7, adoption of minutes for the July 1st, 2015.
I'll make a motion to adopt the minutes of July 1st, 2015.
Second.
As submitted.
As submitted.
I have a motion by Board Member Brimer, second by Board Member Osmer. Further discussion? Hearing none. Lenore?
Lorraine Goff,
Yes.
Dominic Montanaro.
Yes.
Steve Osmer.
Yes.
Mark Reimer.
Yes.
Chairman Catino.
Yes, motion passes. Thank you. Any further before this board? Okay. Remember, next meeting, September 2nd. Okay. It's time. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.